This is Jackie from All Access, and I'm here with Nick of Bayside. Again,
I'm wearing glasses this time.
you're new this time.
Guys.
I like your shirt. Where'd you get that?
Thank you. This one? This is Born and Bred shirt. My clothing brand. But this is I made this for myself. This doesn't actually exist anywhere.
Oh, but Born and Bred does have state ones that you make.
Yeah, we did t-shirts with this, but never button down. I know a guy, so I made it for myself.
I also highly recommend the men's thermal. I'm a big fan of that. Bayside has been together for almost 15 years. What do you attribute to your band's longevity?
Well, our fans definitely appreciate our demeanor, I guess is the best word. I think our integrity and how we stay true to ourselves helps our fans stay true to us, and we've never really strayed too far musically. We've always sounded like us, but we like to think and we try to make each album and each song better than the previous batches of songs. So I think it's working because every album we put out, our existing fans love it, and that makes us feel great. And at the same time, we make new fans, which is it's hard to do, but we want to play music forever, so we try hard.
15 years is a pretty good tenure. How do you translate what you do in the studio to your live set?
I think with our last two records in particular, we've kind of had the idea that we would write songs that do translate well live. I think that our second and third albums, which are probably still our most popular albums, had a lot of extra instruments and things we couldn't really replicate live, and we never have replicated them live, but I think we made up for it with energy and just fun performances live. But our last two albums, I think we wrote in a way where we knew it's just the four of us on stage. So we would write songs and to make sure the energy is good in the studio with just the four of us, so we know it'll translate live. And for me personally, the studio is step one of getting to stage. You know, you write the songs, you get in the studio, record, just so we could go on tour for a couple of years and play and be in front of our fans. That's always the best part of. It's like the end game of writing a song is so you could play it in front of people and have fun. So, we just keep doing that over and over. And we've done it 6 times so far. 6 whole albums.
And I think the fun aspects of that do come across in your live performance. You don't need a whole lot of, not to knock anybody else, but you don't need a whole lot of gimmicks. You literally have cabs that spell out, well, in the past, most recently, that spell out your album. And that's just it. It's you guys playing with the standard, lights that are provided, and it's really I think the camaraderie between you guys after all these years really sort of really helps a lot. And the band's been nominated for some AP awards that are coming up. I'll ask Jack when I get a chance to talk to him, but you guys are more standard rock than what Alt Press always covers, but your band, by and large, and unfortunately, and shame on you, music community, don't recognize artists like you.
Flashy. We know how to play our instruments, but we're not flashy about it. So sometimes the flash makes up for substance sometimes, and we're the opposite of that. We're just substance, and if people recognize it, then cool. And I'm happy for Jack. I mean, to be recognized for his guitar playing. He puts in a lot of work, and he drives himself crazy to come up with a lot of the stuff that he does, and people appreciate it, and it's good to see him get acknowledged for that.
I lost my train of thought because I'm thinking about the guitar, some of the stuff that he does come up with. It's Warp's 20th anniversary. I know it's safe to ask you this question because it's also safe to ask myself this question. What were you doing 20 years ago?
I was at Warp Tour. I went to the first one. Yeah.
Where?
It was Nassau Coliseum on Long Island. I went because I was a big No Use for a Name fan, and I literally saw an ad for Warp Tour in the newspaper. So think about that, young kids.
Newspaper.
A newspaper. It said Warp Tour, And then somehow I saw No Use for a Name. Their name wasn't even that big because the big bands were Sublime. Man, who else did I even see that day? I don't remember seeing a lot of bands, and there were way less bands. I want to say there's like 15 bands the first year. I know Orange 9mm played, Sublime, Sick of It All. There's 2 stages, but I went mostly for No Use for a Name, so it's crazy to think that that was the first incarnation of Warped Tour 20 years ago. It was 2 stages and like 15 bands. It's crazy.
And now it's 5 or 6 stages, depending on the day, and 1,000 between band members and crew and everything else. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. How's the food here?
The food? It's good. You know, I'm not vegan or anything, but I've been kind of dabbling in eating vegan meals here and there. That's one thing they have right, for sure. They feed you well here. The only thing I could ever complain about is you have to like wait online for like an hour to eat. It's kind of like when I'm hungry, I just want to eat. I don't want to like wait in line in the sun. But that's just me being a brat, I think.
Oh, you New Yorkers. No, I'm kidding. So I'm going to ask one question that I know I'm not the only one that wants to know the answer. Is there any chance Bayside will do another acoustic recording?
Yeah, there's always a possibility for that. I think that it's where our songs originate from. They always start acoustically, so in some way, shape, or form, every song exists acoustically somewhere. So I think, you know, like when it comes to covers and acoustic versions and just different recordings other than full albums, there needs to be like a specific time and place for us to do it. You know, the last acoustic or the first acoustic thing kind of came out of like tragedy, but we've done a cover thing in our downtime, and you know, when there becomes this like gray interstitial area between your previous albums getting old, you're starting to write new songs, but you're still like a year and a half away from releasing them. You have this time where going and making acoustic versions of your older songs or doing a covers EP becomes like viable in the middle of there somewhere. So we'll see. I mean, I think the acoustic thing, because the songs exist already, it's easier to do. Putting cover songs together is also still easier than writing songs, but that takes a little bit of work too, because you got to reimagine them. You got to make them kind of Bayside songs, you know?
And Cult is still relatively new, so are you starting to work on new songs? Is it something that just sort of happens as you go along, or do you set aside time?
It's a little bit of both. I think more so it is setting like time, kind of, probably, I would say in about a year we'll start kicking around a couple songs. Right now it's still a little early. Anthony does all the songwriting, so I'm sure he has some ideas, but you know, I don't think that they're far along enough that we could start working on them yet. So right now, yeah, I mean, we still have the rest of this year to support Cult and most of next year too. So I think we will be writing new music sooner than later, but we're still kind of in the middle of this Cult cycle.
So what's up next for Bayside after Warped Tour?
Well, we have to survive this first. We have 3 weeks to go. There's no guarantees. We might not make it. We have some stuff in the fall. It's mostly overseas, so we're supporting Gaslight Anthem in November? End of October, November. So we have some stuff in October that hasn't been announced yet. Some very small, like, regional stuff, like Northeast, Midwest type stuff. That'll probably get announced sooner than later, so...
Excellent. Well, stay tuned for more from Bayside. This is Jackie. Thanks to All Access and In the Key of Change.